Toycat, and welcome back to a very different live stream on the internet. Instead of giving you a very clear and specified, and maybe even, you could argue, overly ambitious goal, this is just me playing some survival in my long-term world. This is the Update Adventures, and as part of that, I actually do like to get everything that comes in a new update, and I have done basically every single part of the Spring to Life drop, with just a couple of exceptions. I have been gathering some of these lovely leaf litters, but I still don't have that many, and I don't have any placed in my world naturally, so if I choose to do this, I can officially say I've completed leaf litter. You might argue, poorly. But yeah, what I can also do today is work on getting some cactus flowers. Cactus flowers are actually a whole pain to work with, but I found a really clever solution to this, which is to use slimes. And so I'm going to upgrade my existing farm using slimes, and then hopefully do some other fun stuff too. Also, I think I want to use some pale moss. You know, we don't need to use pale moss, but I think I want to go grab some sand, and I'm going to try and make an even more effective version of the farm we've got. It will require making some pistons, but you know what? We're probably best off doing that anyway. And so, hello everyone, I am IBX Toycat. Why is there a burger in the corner of the thumbnail? Just to be clear here, are you saying you don't like burgers in the corner of your thumbnails? That's an insane take. I think burgers improve everything, including thumbnails. And if you don't agree, then you are living in the wrong country. I am also living in the wrong country for burgers, but it's you know, who's to say where I'm from, really? You know what, chat? By the way, hello Jeff Shannon, how's it going? What's the seed for this world? The seed is everything. It's a funny one because we check it every update. We try to find out. Well, we see what has changed on the seed everything. I literally typed it in back in 2012 because I was just like, yeah, I don't want to be missing anything. And so how do I ask the seed generator nicely to give me everything? Well, I type in the word everything, obviously. So let's see if we have everything we need for pistons besides the wood now. So pistons are made up of 4 of these. So I have 4 stacks of that. 3 stacks of wood is what we need now, and then I can make a whole stack of pistons, and we can do it. So happy to be off today and get to catch a live stream, says Joshua Lyles. Thank you very much, Joshua Lyles, for choosing to take some of your day off and choosing to spend it with me. You know what, Joshua Lyles? Actually, let's take it a step further. What is something you've always wanted to see me do, talk about, or I don't know, eat? Whatever adjective or verb hits the spot. You know, tell me what the version of that is, and we'll do our best to do it for your. You know, I feel like days off are special in a weird way, because I know my concept of days off are very different to the you know, the average person's, but I feel like there is a specialty to them. That you know, I feel like if you're, wait, did I make droppers instead of pistons? You know, I might need droppers at some point. They are a thing that people sometimes use. Whoopsie, I guess. Okay, so let's grab a bunch of bamboo from here. I don't know what a bunch of gunpowder's doing in there, but it probably shouldn't be. Fill up our inventory of bamboo and let's try it again. That's a lot of power to give to a person, says Dasher. You know, if you think about it, it's a power even I don't have, Dasher. I think some streams we have like a very clear, you know, like sense of direction. And some streams, you know, it's like, well, we have a vague plan and we immediately derail from it. So even I don't really have that much power. Also, washing happens to our sources, Cat Beanie. You know, I was just today finishing off a video talking about the tutorials in Minecraft, and it's still what I think I've now played Bedrock for long enough. We mentioned, but I've played Bedrock longer than I've played console. And longer than I played Java combined now. So I am a Bedrock player on a, if we're getting, you know, tribal about it, which on the internet you better believe we've got to be. You know, make Bedrock great again or whatever. But like, if we are getting tribal about these things, which, you know, let's go ahead and get some tribal, then I am a part of the Bedrock tribe now, you know? And so if I'm a part of the Bedrock tribe, I can say this is still just bad. It's not that I'm from a different tribe and I'm telling you to do different things. It is that we as a tribe need to change this. Now you're thinking of pistons. It's my favorite from the loading screen. Hey, I am in fact going to be thinking with pistons. It is true. Okay, how many pistons can we make now? We can make 0 pistons now. Okay, well that's not very useful. I guess we'll go inside, work it out there. Okay, so I'm looking by the way for your message. but I don't see it Joshua Lyles. Therefore, I won't be doing nothing. I mean, or I could do nothing today. You ever consider that we don't spend enough streams doing truly nothing? Also, what? There are tutorials. There are tutorials on how to. Oh, about Minecraft. Yeah, so only the console edition has a bona fide tutorial. The Bedrock version does have a tutorial. And then the Java version has, like, the closest thing you can have to not a tutorial. By the way, thank you, Gigabytes Gaming, for becoming the 392nd channel member. Massively appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna grab just a whole stack of these. Oh, actually, that's more than we need. So I just used up redstone. I didn't use anything else. Okay, that's fine. Let's make ourselves some pistons, maybe. So yeah, chat, I play on Switch, and the cousin you're ashamed to be related with. You know, as a tribe, you know, you're the person in the corner who's like, you know, oh yeah, I think we should, you know, we're all like, how do we get more fish for the village? And you're like, what if we get more fish by, you know, by taking the fish we already eat and, I don't know, eating it twice. That's the closest thing I can find to a Switch player. I'm very sorry, Xavier. I didn't realize that you were a Switch, you know, you were stuck on the Switch. You know, I would have done something about it by now. We could have started a GoFundMe or something. You know, you don't realize these things. They can happen to even, chat, you don't realize, but this sort of thing can happen even to people you care about. Someone you might know or care about might be playing Minecraft on the Switch right now. You wouldn't even know about it. Speaking of, I do think it's really interesting, by the way, that we still haven't seen any confirmation of a Minecraft native port for the Switch 2. Makes me think that it's not gonna be there for a bit. I think I can't, on the one hand, I can't blame Mojang, right? The Bedrock team has so much to deal with, and it sounds like I have to just trust them. You know, I'm gonna choose to be trustworthy. I'm gonna choose to trust them and assume they are trustworthy. Making a port for a brand new platform is a very time-consuming process. That just seems to be a truth. It is just a part of it. And so if it takes them so long to make a brand new port, if it takes them so long to make a brand new... Wow, we got so many pistons already. We did not need to grab any more. I wouldn't say. I think we only need to have 4. Maybe even 2, but we'll grab 4 just to be safe. And then we'll grab some redstone, and we'll grab a repeater. If I can find one. There's a repeater. Actually, I don't think I need the repeater. I think I need redstone torches. We'll grab some of those. And now, let's try and build our farm, chat. Okay, so my plan is to get myself some cactus flowers in a semi-AFK nature. And my plan is to do so while knowing about the vague fundamentals, but specifically not by just step-by-step following a tutorial. Oh, I didn't grab enough sand. I didn't grab any sand. Let's go back and get it. I can't afford the Switch 2, says Lego Show TV. I wouldn't blame you. I think something we should do better at as a society is in acknowledging everyone. It's like a downer of a move, but I think more people need to acknowledge, yes, I'm excited for the Switch 2, but also I can see that makes me a, you know, top 20%, you know, nerd by income or whatever it is. I don't know what it would be. But also thank you, Zcraft6, for helping us get to 400 members. We are just 7 away. Very exciting. Okay, so let's grab some sand. This is not sand. Let's grab some sand. 62 feels like overkill. 31 feels like overkill. I think like maybe 18. 20 feels like a good amount. Let's grab it. And let's go down and let's turn this into something. So, yeah, I bought membership. Thank you, Zcraft. I appreciate you buying membership. You can now check out all the member-only videos that you can watch on this channel. Weird that Nightbot didn't detect all caps. You know what? Nightbot does sometimes slack. We've got to concede. Nightbot needs to do a better job. Okay, so here's the plan, chat. This was my instinctual way to harvest cactus flowers. Oh, look, we actually grew one. But it has a bit of a problem. And the bit of a problem is that it takes a very long time. And also, we don't have a block attached to this, so we have to place our slime blocks like along here. And so now what will happen is if any of these pistons go off... Actually, if any of these pistons go off, will it be able to extend? I don't know enough about pistons, so I'll cut it off there just to be clear. Now, if any of these pistons get activated, which I will simulate using a redstone torch, the way it's actually detected is I have dripstone over here. So it's like pseudo-random, but not truly random. Although actually, a block appeared there. But if this dripstone grows one block taller, these pistons activate, and if those pistons activate... Wait, is that correct? Yeah, if those pistons... Do I have observer blocks that are connected to nothing? No, I think the observer block runs up there. Let's confirm that, actually. So, just to show you this, I'm going to grab one of the dripstone from the chest. I'm going to ignore that slime for now, because I do not like to deal with slimes. We're going to take the pointed dripstone, and we're going to put it there. That causes this piston to go off. Did it cause these pistons to go off too? It did. See now, but they haven't gone backwards. Chat, they have not gone backwards. The pistons themselves... Oh, did they lure... Okay, I think somehow the pistons pushed all of them forwards, and that has caused very big problems. So you shouldn't use slime blocks. Is it maybe because the slime blocks are attached to... I don't know what's happened here, but it is very bad for everyone involved. So we now need to break these pistons and place them back down again. Totally normal thing to do. And then place them back this way. And this way. And this one doesn't seem to be a sticky piston for some reason. You know, maybe our logic was that if you put a block diagonally next to a block, it would break. Or maybe we were meant to put something on there. I don't know what happened, chat, but I broke it all. And I don't want to break it all again. So let's just break some of these blocks in between here. We're just using slime blocks because they're very pretty and I have too many of them. Okay. So now we want to test that works again by putting on our cactus flower. It would also work if the cactus grew past free. So here's my cactus flower that I got legitimately. And now we're going to test the system once more after we put the redstone back on. So this is a bit weird, but it technically works, it looks like. So one more test push. We'll run down here. We'll grab 2 sticky or pointed dripstone. 1, 2. Okay, so again, it's a bit of an indirect trigger, but this is what we have so far, and I have no idea what I'm doing, chat. I have less than no idea what I'm doing because I am ending up with... Okay, so there is work to be done here. I think I just have to put a normal block at the end of this. Like, what if I just put stone blocks there? Or bamboo planks? Like, I think literally anything but slime blocks would work great. And we'll grab some more sticky pistons for replacing these blocks with. Because clearly that is causing me problems too. Okay, so now we have to build this again, chat. But better. Please read my message, says Dasher. I shall read your message. I read it just now, Dasher. I hope it was a good message. If you break the flower, the cactus can never grow a flower again. You need to break the cactus. Is that true? I don't... Really?
I'll make you a deal. If you join Rumble and dual stream there, in addition to, not instead of it, then I'll buy a membership to your channel on Rumble.
Thank you, Darth Gorbag. So there is an interesting thing about, as a streamer, the logical thing to do, right, would be to stream on all of the platforms all of the time, right? There is a real logical case to be made for doing exactly that. There's a... Do cactus flowers work that way? Yeah, but so anyway, the logical thing to do as a creator is to just multi-stream everywhere. But also, I feel like that's what makes it such an illogical thing to do as a creator. I think that, like, a lot of people who have gotten into YouTube recently, this isn't some targeted comment. I'll make some targeted comments, don't worry. But like, lots of people who got into YouTube recently, like after the gold rush years, we can call them, kind of take this approach that, like, yeah, YouTube is a business, and people absorb your slop, and that is a business. No You know, like, I don't know, kind of seeing it as like a, haha, how many people can I trick into watching my content? But actually what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a collection of people who want to watch your content, right? And the one problem with multi-streaming as a concept is that you can join the chats together, but then even, so that I could see Rumble and TikTok and YouTube at the same time. But even then, it's going to provide this weird feeling when I respond to someone that isn't in this chat, right? And so there's only two options. One is to never respond to the people on Rumble or TikTok or Twitch, which means I'll never actually build a, community there. Or option two is to alienate your existing community very slightly and multi-stream. And let me assure you, my price to very slightly alienate you is a lot more than £10, internet. That is my promise to you. I got very late into the deal with Facebook at one point for what I will just call an ungodly amount of money, basically. I think ungodly is I'm overselling it, but like I think it was annualized like 80k a year or something like that. And their idea was like, yeah, but you would be streaming here exclusively. And I think the highest I've seen places offer is like, it goes into like the 4 digits still for multi-streaming even. But there's always some caveat because they know, like they've worked with creators and they know like you just having a stream here isn't the same as you interacting here. I have some old school YouTube friends who took the Facebook deals. And, like, in the short term, they did really, really well from them. But I think it's one of those, like, traps. As a creator, you assume, like... Also, another cactus flower Groot. No, that's my same cactus flower. Never mind. False alarm. Anyway, yeah, it was... There's a lot of money on the table in streaming deals sometimes. But it doesn't make sense. I don't even fully understand why it doesn't make sense. If I'm, like, trying to, like, actually level with you... I think it is. I think the only reason I can make out as a creator is that like making a worse quality product more often is not always a better solution. Hi ABX, I'm one of the only surviving Xbox 360 players. I want to say thank you for making some of the cool World Seed showcases. Lots of good memories were made thanks to you. Well, thank you. And to who? You know what? A lovely message to leave. Okay, so now let's start growing cactus here. Oh, we have to destroy the block behind it. And the block to the side of it. So is this fine for a cactus? It is. But will a cactus flower grow there? I bet not. So we'll destroy both of these blocks on both sides. And then we'll start placing cactuses down, and we'll be good. Break the stone around the slime. You will overload the pistons. Break the stone around the slime. Oh, yeah. If I left pistons with the ceiling attached. Man, slime blocks really mess stuff up, huh? Right, I have to... If I have that stone in the ceiling up there, then having a slime block push out will cause me problems. I'll just use bamboo planks for this all. You know, I wanted to use slime blocks. I thought they'd be prettiest. But this is also entirely fine. It's like venture capitalism. They'll invest in 10 channels knowing 9 will fail, but 1 will get big. Yeah, but like, the problem is, so for, like, when you work on the, internet, your dream is, please, even if you earn, like, a ludicrous amount of money in a year, like, if you earn $1 million in a year, you still, maybe $1 million's a lot, actually. Maybe if you earn, like, $500,000 in a year, call that $250,000 after taxes, right? So you have a huge influx of cash, but it's the difference between income and wealth, I guess, but like on a YouTuber level, that causes a lot of people to go, please, rather than having 250k appear 1 year, I would rather just have a 100k salary, so that way I don't show up to work every day terrified, what if this is the last day? And so a lot of people sign these deals, again, like in the case of creator friends, like getting paid, 50k a year on Facebook instead of, like 60k a year on their YouTube channel. And they're like, yeah, this was a really great trade. But what they forget is that they're only worth, it's the exact same as the YouTube income. It just doesn't sound like it. On YouTube, if you have a bad year at, again, just making up 60k, Man, this is fine. This is finance with YouTube talking here, apparently. Wasn't even my intention, chat. But I guess we're rolling with it. But yeah, if you earn like, again, just imaginary numbers here, 60K on YouTube 1 year, and then you start doing poorly, you'll be worth, you know, like 30K next year. But actually, that's the same with your Facebook deal. Your 50K deal is only worth that because you have a platform or an audience or whatever. It's worth nothing the moment that you stop having that. And so if switching to a platform, even though you're getting paid a bunch of money, causes you to lose your audience and lose your, you know, like people who care about you, then it is still a net negative deal, even when a huge amount of money is involved. Even if that's, I think that happened to the Mixer streamers, right? Like the only reason that people are really amazed with Ninja and whoever else is because they were getting paid like, you know, some number of millions a year to be on a streaming platform that no one used. And so the moment that streaming platform shut down, it was like, oh, yeah, this is perfect. Now I can, you know, have the money, but also have people who actually want to watch. I think it's a really interesting dilemma. So I'm hoping to have a job by the end of the year. I'm tired of being broke. I want to have a constant membership. Ah, thank you, Xavier. That's really nice. I think I think the being like, yeah, I think the right amount of money everyone actually craves, right, is like enough. Enough so that when you have a big purchase, you don't have to be like, well, it's this or it's that. The dream is to be able to be like, I can have this and that. As long as one of those two things isn't a Lamborghini, I should be all good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a bunch of tough bricks, actually. I'm going to work on my tunnel. I think my husband had a big following on Mixer, and it all went up in smoke overnight. Yeah, so there were a bunch of dedicated Mixer streamers. I was friends with a few of them, actually. Apparently not your husband. I'm assuming not in the Minecraft space, that's why. But, yeah, like, a lot of people were, like, basing their entire thing on this idea of, like, you pick the smallest streaming platform, but then if it becomes big, you're there on the ground floor. And so Microsoft didn't just screw themselves by shutting down Mixer. They screwed over the hundreds of people who turned down the going to Twitch earlier or whatever. It's a scary thing to think about. These are droppers, not furnaces. So I'm just gonna put everything away. Hold 5 memberships a month. One of my goals is to actually be a member to channels I watch. I think that's a really cool goal. I think that's it's one of those like I don't know. It's a nice one to have, right? I think it's like people who donate some percent of their salary. It's it's a silly thing, but I think actually the happiness or the feeling you get when you do. I guess I've got the most biased take in the world. I'm like, wow, but getting a channel membership sure is good. But I think a lot of people like supporting things that they like. Otherwise, we wouldn't have art galleries and whatever else. So let's just put that over there. I need to do something about this wax copper, but future me can deal with that. So, the wild thing about Minecraft having mixer interaction as well. Fun fact, Java Edition had Twitch integration over a decade ago. Yeah, I remember that actually. I do remember that quite well. I tip a few FQ creators, but I'm a Toy Cat purist. Thank you for being a Toy Cat purist. I like supporting people I like. Yeah, I think a lot of people find it to be... Okay, you know, can I want to jump in with, like, something that I've been thinking about recently, right, chat? Is, especially when you're young and, like, the word people use for this is hungry. But it's, like, a really good way to describe this mentality of, like, when you are particularly in between the ages of, like, 18 to, like, 30, that's where you know, like... From 0 to 18, your social status, your wealth, a lot of your things are determined by either your parents or the circumstances of your birth. You know, like, indirectly, your birth, things outside your control everything about your life. Then between, like, 18 and 30, you get to, like, make the calls. And so a lot of people who are, like, like, again, to use the word hungry, a lot of people who, like, want a lot are like, yeah, screw everyone else, I gotta go get mine, which is actually like a part of how the world works, so like that's chill, get it. But I think that as soon as you like, you feel like you got yours, or you feel like you did something, I think people do actually instinctively want to find ways that they can help the world work, I think, I don't know how to quite describe it, but I heard a story, I won't say who from, just in case it is sensitive. But I heard a story of very recently about someone who had their neighbor would just steal their delivery food all the time. And it's like it's one of those like funny problems to have, because it technically feels like a victimless crime. Because if the person who has their food stolen gets it refunded, the person who gets the food erroneously gets free food. Everyone's a winner, except the delivery company who just lost the money, the restaurant, and in particular, it's not just those two people, but it's also it's a big loss for the person who got the original, who wanted to eat the food, in the evening, right? And so again, I heard a story, and the person who told me said, yeah, and then I posted it on the Facebook group, and they got really offended because they were like, oh, are you implying, that I can't feed my children just because I'm stealing your food? And I was like, oh yeah, people are like, have their whole like insecurity of thinking like, oh yeah, I was just doing this entirely harmless thing by very deliberately choosing to ignore the consequences, and now you've accidentally made now that you've made the consequences clear, I feel bad about it, and I think that's your fault. How dare you make me look bad by showing me looking bad? And I thought it was like an interesting thing, because there are some people like that all the time, right? But there are some people who are like actively with no desire, or I guess there are people who also like are very keen on like doing the right thing even when no one will see and no one will care. And like squaring those two circles is odd to me, but I do think the easiest like description of how you can be a better person, or the description in my mind is like, I think a lot of people like to be liked. I think social status and the idea of not being seen as a, like, I don't know, a freeloader, not being seen as someone that people want to, being seen as a good person is like a very desirable trait. I think a lot of people struggle with the idea of like, but why should I do things I actively don't want to do in order to be liked? Also, Highland cows. I tend to like to do the right things as a cookie time. Yeah, I think that actually, like doing the wrong thing, like it's the same way I feel about like phone thieves. Like in their minds, in their heads, they're not thinking, yeah, gonna deprive some poor soul of the ability to contact their family today, or this person just got a new phone on contract. Like the giant value net loss to the economy from phone thieves is so high. But in their minds, they're like, yeah, I make 50 quid a phone. This is one of the ways that you can make a living in the city. If my landlord didn't charge me money, I wouldn't have to steal these people's phones or something like that. Or if, the chicken shop doesn't charge me. If the chicken shop could just agree, given our trade-in balance, how much money I'm giving to them and not vice versa, to give me a few freebies, then we wouldn't need to go through this. Yeah, I think we're going to go pick up some tough bricks, by the way. I think that's what we're going to do. I want to work on my big tunnel. It comes to my mind as like one of those things of like, I'm never going to finish it. I don't know why. Same with the, I guess, like, to a lesser extent, the big Nevrak cube. But tough bricks are a new block, and so they'll tie into my title. Yeah, like I said today, this is going to be one of the most, like, disorganized streams in terms of what I'm doing in Minecraft chat. I'm having, like, the biggest creative block on streams. I really want to do something. I've got, like, 2 big ideas. Or like 2 like half-complete big ideas, and I'm like, can't do that, can't do this. Phone thieves are doing an essential service to the world, and poorer refurbish/used smartphone buyers. That's it's an argument people make for bike thefts in like Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, basically everyone has a bike, and everyone buys cheap bikes because the bikes will get stolen. And bikes are very cheap, often because you can find them from. So like it's basically like you're paying. The bike thieves are providing fungibility to the market. Whereas I feel like a phone has too much personal information to make the argument. Yeah. Make a field of wildflowers to dance to the sound of music. That sounds fun, Susanna Green. I should give that a try. Meat Mountain was fun. Joshua Lyles has tried to give you a topic several times now. The craziness in the fit is the reason why I won't go. Yeah, Joshua, I'd love to see it. Joshua, I want to see it. Joshua, what's your comment? What's your idea? Joshua, apparently you left a comment. I'm looking for it, Joshua. I'm scrolling all the way. I'm not seeing it though. Joshua, what is the way? Yeah, you might need to copy paste it to me. I didn't see it. I scrolled as far as my bar would go. Be the victim of it, and your opinion will change. Of bike theft or phone theft? To be clear, I had the worst thing happen to me, and when my phone got stolen, I had phone insurance. You know what's the dumbest thing is I had insurance for the phone, but the phone insurance couldn't pay up without the IMEI number, and I didn't write that down when I got it from the phone. So they're like, but your network can provide that to you, and my network just refused to provide it to me. They're like, we can only provide that to your phone insurance, and there's no good reason, by the way. Like now that at the time it was like the first I'd heard of an IMEI number. There's no good reason for my network to deny telling me about it. I escalated through so many levels. I was like, please just tell me my just tell me my number. Like it's like there's no privacy reason. There's no good reason for them not to give it to me. Oh, Dasha, sorry to put pressure on you again, Joshua. Did he give like if he left one already, can't you share it with me now? Can't you share his message directly? Chill streams are fun too. It doesn't always have to be a big thing. Thank you, Bird, for life. No, like I said, it's the curse of YouTube though. Having that title and thumbnail, it's like how do I live up to a title and thumbnail when the thing is let's hang out and play some Minecraft. And that's the thing. I need to one of the parts of my this is the I spend so much of my day, or not my day. I spend so much of my, I don't know. In a normal job, the way you get promoted or keep your job is like you keep your boss happy, right? But my boss is one of the biggest tech companies run by robots, and people who honestly would be happier if they didn't have to hire me, right? So, and in that way, like, how do you keep the YouTube algorithm gods happy? And so that is what a lot of my, how do I not get a pay decrease next year? I have to keep the YouTube algorithm gods happy. Or even, in some cases, it's like, how do I get a pay decrease that is lower than I am currently projected to get? Also, Diluted Dante, wondering bucket trader update. Copied a world and got a bucket my 5th try of the same guy. No bucket from other separate worlds for another 5 attempts. Wiki right on its percent. That sounds like 20% though. Asked if you have any tips on playing Minecraft efficiently on mobile, because I only have a 10 chunk max render distance. Oh yeah, actually. So assuming you're playing on Android, because 10 chunks sounds like, quite a few years old for an iPhone. I'll give you the best tip I can actually. So Joshua Lyles, I'll call you Josh for short, if that's okay. If you want to play Minecraft more efficiently on a phone, if you're playing on an Android, there's usually something called like game mode, where it'll like deprioritize other apps and give more power to a game. Because the default understanding for an Android phone is that no matter how much people say they don't care about battery life, you only care about battery life when it's too late to care about battery life. So your phone manages your battery for you, but managing your battery isn't what you want to do on a phone if you're trying to play Minecraft for more than 10 chunks. So you set it to a game mode of some form, and you'll probably be fine. That is my official suggestion and solution. When I first started Java Beta, it literally had a chunk render distance. Oh yeah, I remember. Cesano, I remember way back in those days, putting it to 1 chunk render distance and then still getting like 15, 20 FPS. The fog would be so close to you, you wouldn't be able to see anything. But I'd be like, yeah, but it's fine, it's totally fine. My phone render distance is 21 chunks. My Xbox One is only 16. Yeah, it's funny. You literally can't. Even if I want to, right? I cannot set my render distance below it. I think it's 5 chunks. Yeah, 5 is the minimum now. 5 was palatial for my 2011 laptop. My laptop ran Minecraft so bad that I couldn't play. You know, I could, even though I was really obsessed with Minecraft, I couldn't play it on my laptop. And so, do you know what I ended up playing it on instead, chat? You do. It eventually came out for the Xbox 360, and that's the only way I was able to play. Anyway, my PC can go up to 72 chunks, but I choose to play on 16. Yeah, I actually think on a new world, you want more chunks. Like, I basically realized recently that there is just a superpower in a high render distance on a new world where you don't know where things are. Otherwise, there's not really a whole bunch of point to it. Like, high render distances don't actually provide you with that much value. And that's confusing that that is true, but I do believe it is true. So, 5 chunks is a decent amount for Java on a bad day. Yeah, nowadays I feel like most people get more than 5 chunks of render distance. I thought his advice was going to be not play on your phone. Don't worry, Xavier. That's only my advice for Nintendo Switch players. No offense. I usually play on 55 chunks. Yeah, picking a render distance is quite interesting. I like how render distance fog looks. I think that having too much of your world, like, it's funny. I make this as a joke in my Java video, but my instinct there was genuinely like, what are the benefits? You know, my favorite thing is what is the good in the bad and what is the bad in the good. I love the yin yang concept of like the world is not made up of, you know, like objective greats and objective terribleness. We would like it if it were. Like, wouldn't it be so nice, chat? Wouldn't it be so nice if genuinely, you know, you're gonna make a really hard decision, like, you know, you're voting in an election, and then you just look at it and it's like, one guy is running the I will kill you and your family party, and the other one's like running the I will not kill you and your family party. You know, you'd have an easier time with that one. I feel like I think there are lots of things that are complicated by reality. One of those things, you know, you know, to tie up the YouTuber career discussion thing. It's like, yeah, actually, a lot of people will watch a stream if they already know who I am, etc. And if they're already interested and they're taking the notification. If we just called the stream, actually, you know, what's the most? If we just called the stream Minecraft and chill, or just we called the stream goofing around in Minecraft with no particular goal. So yeah, there was someone in the pre-stream who said they wanted to see the cactus flower farm. By the way, I feel like it failed for them. You know, another time. Anyway, I'm afraid this stream has made me a bit depressed. I gotta go. See you later. I'm very sorry, Darth Goldbag. We'll have to continue more later. But yeah, I think there's I think learning about the bad and the good and the good and the bad helps you understand a lot of things better. Because the world is filled with examples of it, but it's hard to ever like. I guess let's just fill the bottom of this with stone, and then we can start pouring it in there. Yeah, the world is filled with those sorts of things. But anyway, so chat, what is the most simplistic way to describe? You know, let's brainstorm this together. You know, literally just hanging out and playing Minecraft and doing nothing. I remember like way back in the day, like, you know, when people were like trying super high effort, you know, titles for their streams. I would just call mine like literally just mining X. Also, we'd watch the stream because it's you, Toy Cat. Thank you, Jane K. I like reading messages like that. They make me they deal with my biggest YouTube-induced insecurity of being forgotten. Thank you very much. How are you doing, Toy Cat? I'm good, says Lego Show TV. I'm doing really good today. I went for a run this morning. Chat, I really didn't want to. Like last night, I was like, oh no, I didn't set my alarm for the 5K. And then this morning, I was like, you know, like I was like, okay, I'll just remind my, you know, I kind of just like had this non-committal thing. And this morning I woke up and I was like, nope, I'm gonna do it. My body does not want to be out of this bed right now, but I'm gonna go on the 5K run. And then I got like 2 laps, not even 2 laps. I got like I got like 25% done with the run. And every part of my body was just like, no, you are done. It is over. Good job. You ran this far. But that's kind of it. I chose to continue because I ran into someone I recognized. They thought I was taking a coffee break or something like that. But I continued to run, and I feel like you know, when you push yourself into something you didn't want to do, when you push yourself further than you thought you could, it's like a gratifying feeling, right? Like I think we have like 2 types of desires, or like you could call it wants and desires. We have like moment to moment things we want to do, and then we have like deeper psychologically fulfilling things that we, you know, choose to do. It's always cool when the deeper one, you know, wins, right? At least to me. So I did some exercise yesterday and I walked 10k steps. So I'm happy. Yeah, as you should be. I'm happy that you're happy. Peer pressure made him run. Yeah, I think my wildly hot take is we should use peer pressure to get more stuff done. Like I think, you know, like especially when you're young, people say like, oh yeah, don't let peer pressure trick you into doing this. And the reason you shouldn't let peer pressure trick you when you're young is because everyone who is young is dumb, yourself included, myself included, you know. You know, like if you let a murderer peer pressure you into murdering, that's bad. But if you let your friend who's a supermodel athlete convince you to become a supermodel athlete, then is that a bad thing? You know, it's funny, we say the word supermodel and we usually use it to mean like attractive, but actually there's like a lot of work. I think it would probably be bad for you on the net gain, and also being an athlete sounds like it would exhaust you, but you get the idea. Like if there are things that you actually want to do, try to set yourself up so that there are people who will see you succeeding on not of those things. And that is enough a motivating factor to get you to do them. I guess that depends on whether you actually want to do things, right? Like there's a lot of things I really want to do, but I don't want accountability on. Like I would love to see every country in Earth chat. It's one of my like life goals. But also I feel uncomfortable saying it's one of my life goals because I know it's a goal that I will get close to achieving if I really nail it and I get to live long enough. But I don't think I'll ever actually achieve it. And so, like, do you want to tell people about a goal like that? I have this fear on, like, YouTube sometimes. Like, you know, do I want to tell people my plan is to have a giant metro going under my world? I'm not sure that I do. If I tell people about the plan, then maybe they'll see it as a failure that I don't. So, yeah, I'm working on animation right now. Can you give me some nice, tasty motivation? Says Pudgy Melon. Have a pigeon and a melon, and you know, I guess I'm giving you an idea, not motivation. So you can do it. If you don't do it, I'll think less of you. See that? That's really unhealthy if that goes wrong, but it's really healthy if it goes right. But then I realize that's like most things in life, right? Like when it works, you know, it's a perfect example of what I was talking about with like peer pressure is really bad when it leads you to do bad things. There are all sorts of bad things, you know, you know you've got a bad argument when you have to resort to comparing to those 1930s Germans, but a lot of those people probably wouldn't have independently done that, but they did it because they were all together, right? They were like, you know, like someone tells you to do it and everyone else looks like they're doing it. There's a lot of things that seem very reasonable when everyone around you is doing them. And there's a lot of things that would be very hard, like ungodly hard to do. But when you're just convinced that everyone's doing it, you're like, well, I guess this is how we roll. What you said made me smile. I'll count that as motivation. Pudgy Melon, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad that you are smiled, and you are. I guess a pigeon and a melon is what I got from your username, Pudgy. A pudgy is not a pigeon. It sounds like a pigeon, like a pudgy, like a budgie. It's almost like bad things are bad and good things. What are, Hannah Joys, don't, you can't just drop a cliffhanger like that. What's the ending? What are good things? If bad things are bad, are good things also bad? Also, if Happy Ghast and Locator Bar are all that's going to be in the summer drop, it's going to be a boring couple of months from now till the start of the next drop. I feel like they have more to add. Yeah, me too. Oh, actually, it's a good reminder for me to... good reminder for me to check the thing. How is the Q&A coming along, by the way? Okay, pair pressure, says Corcoran. Yeah, pair pressure. So the point about the drop, I'm being really caught. Like, I want to wait because I feel like pre-induced negativity, like you know how like the peer pressure effect also works with like regards to opinion. If anyone's seen the second Black Mirror episode of this season, they like touch on that a little bit at the very beginning, but a lot of people. There's a large number of people, at least I should say. There's a very large number of people who are you know, like kind of socially susceptible to believing in the massive opinion. Do you know most of the people who are like screaming at Mojang, "We want an end update," "Oh, not an end update," "Lazy," they don't actually believe it. They've just been told it somewhere, and they're like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." You know, pick your favorite, like, pick your least favorite political cause, you know, the guys you really don't like, and you can imagine the same too, but also your favorite political cause. A lot of people that you think agree with you actually are just kind of, you know, like, only half in, I guess is what I mean here. And so one of my, like, big forms of caution as someone who's seen the Minecraft community, like, turn in on itself is, like, we can't say that something looks bad until it looks bad, right? But right now, I would say the summer drop is the most concerning drop we've seen. You know, like when the winter drop came out, we were like, oh, okay, it's decent, but then there's gonna be a spring one, and that's like cool. But then the summer one's gonna be bigger, right? If the summer drop is going to be tiny again, and the spring drop is considered big, then, like, you know, drop system is dead before it started, right? I think if they're just planning on having a Happy Ghast, because they might not even have the player locator bar, then it's over. It's done. There's no excitement to that. I've stopped watching depressing stuff. Some days Toycat streams depress me. You never know if I'm gonna be here to lift your spirits or depress them down. You never know, huh? You never know. I'm getting semi-good at watching streams. Congratulations, me being me, at getting good at watching streams. I hope you keep doing well. So, also, KMB says there's Minecraft YouTubers in the new Black Mirror season. Oh, I need to see that. I feel like we're saying at the start of each drop that it's concerning, but usually they surprise us pretty quickly afterwards. Oh, I feel like the spring drop was definitely like... You know, if there were like tick and tock updates, not tick, you know, if they were like a clock, not like a terrible Chinese social media site that's ruined people's attention spans. But, you know, if there was like a tick-tock Minecraft update cycle, you would be really surprised to learn that the spring drop was a tick and not a tock. It's the overwhelming anxiety we get when you do risky things. You know, that's why it's nice to be in this tunnel. It's lit, so there's no mobs. Nothing bad can happen to me down here, I say. Actually, I can even sleep, so even if there was a risk, could entirely deal with it. Toycat streams help me with my depression more than they depress me. Thank you, Joshua Lyles. I think that the healthy balance would be if they depress you and undepress you in equal parts. But I'm glad they undepress you more than they depress you. Whew. Anyway, so yeah, my day, I had a real big exercise, and I've eaten a lot of pizza just before this stream, and now my body just feels dead. Like I can't do anything physical anymore, chat. I feel like I've hit my point of not being able to anymore. Are you making a sewer? Says IBX Toycat. Oh, that's a good idea, huh? There's an idea. Also, the tunnel looks nice with vibrant visuals. Oh, you gave it a check, did you? Sounds fun. Okay, so I'm gonna build the big row of this at the top first, I think. I kind of see the sewer vibe. Now that you're saying it, I don't think I'll be able to unsay it. Or unsee it. Your streams are lovely. Thank you very much. So yeah, chat. What is the shortest way to describe Minecraft streams with no particular aim? I feel like, because my dream would be if we had some consistent style of title that also was very, you know, like silly and, you know, like, if I hate to use the word, but clickable, you know? I think that would be a lot of fun for me. Hours watching Toycat streams and happiness are proportional in a good way. Hey, thank you, Jeremy Baramy. Love your The Good Place reference. Okay. It's because the tough bricks have that greenish tint. Do you see green? Is there green in the sewers? You know, it's a real good question. Unorganized. No one is telling me what to do today, says KMB. Oh, I like your thinking there. You know, that's very Minecraft-esque, gotta say. What button do you press to send those tough bricks to your hotbar without opening the inventory? You have to set it up yourself, U-time. It's called pick block. I set it to up on the D-pad. It's set to your middle click. If you use a keyboard and mouse, it's a game changer. You want to use it. Helping someone with pick block is one of my main goals. What about Forever World Loving? Shooting the breeze with Toycat. What button? So that's coming up with silly and concerning title like the terrifying hole. Yeah, that is the most fun way to do it. It's the problem though is that thumbnails are hard to make on the fly. I think, okay, you know, actually, this is my hot take, chat. I don't use AI for any thumbnails. It's crazy how many YouTubers do now use AI. Like, you can tell. Which, it's not actually that bad if you can tell, but you still click the video. You know, like, if it... I'm not one of those, like, AI is so bad. I'm one of those... AI has a ceiling. And, yeah, that's my actual take. I'm not a... there should never, ever be a machine involved in the creative process. But, I think AI would be really good for making a thumbnail on the fly. If right now we decided, oh yeah, I'm building a giant sewer, you know, or, you know, building your mum's house. Sorry, I like that one too much. But if I did one of those, then having like just a prompt I could type in would be real handy. It does obviously, it obviously immediately unravels when we consider the idea that like, okay, ooh, lots of these blocks. I think the whole thing starts to unravel when you consider like, actually, you know, like that's not that far off what you can actually do. There are lots of AI Shorts channels. Oh man, those AI Shorts channels are the worst. I have to, like, I don't even know why. Again, I'm not fundamentally opposed to it, but it feels like that classic example of someone who's like, I have worked out how to produce my, you know, let me share my biases with you, chat. These are, my biases are not correct because they're my biases, but I'm gonna drop them on you anyway. But like, it feels like a YouTuber who's like, I would like to have money. I've worked out that's a bit of YouTuber I like, but I don't want to actually show any bit of personality or face or anything like that. What do I do? Oh, AI random Reddit nonsense, right? And the problem is like, there's a lot of really successful AI stuff where it's like, they deliberately just mislead you a whole bunch for the whole video. Like, I watched a video that tried to answer a question like, oh, how does this street food vendor sell 1,000 spring rolls a day or something? And the video starts, the reason McDonald's isn't successful in China is because of this stool. And I'm like, you're combining different ideas and doing it in a way that makes no sense to anyone. And I think there's something about like, you know, I realize this when it comes to like, chat. I think we like having a human to be mad at. You know, this is my most, what's the word for this? Like my most Karen opinion if we have to use internet, you know, vernacular for this. I think we like having a human being to be mad at. I hate when a website, I signed up for a website recently that allowed me to pay my taxes using a specific type of credit card that the government only accepts debit cards. I wanted to pay using a credit card because I wanted those sweet reward points, right? And so I signed up for a website, and they're like, "Yep, here you go. Just add your card and so I signed up for the website, and it says not working, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I talked to the support agent, and they're like, "How can we help you?" And I'm saying, "Oh, it just says not working. Please contact support." And they're like, "Have you tried reading one of these articles?" And I'm like, "No, contact a real human." And then like it speaks to the real human, and it's not a real human. And I'm like, I just need a person to understand, you know, like something is wrong. Please help me fix it, right? But the same is true for like, you know, like a self-checkout. The most frustrating thing is standing there being like, well, better wait for the person now. Like, I think there's something about when there's a human there. It's not that you want to be mad at a human, but you know that you shouldn't be mad at a human in a way that you're not allowed to. You don't have to care about a machine. I have very strong feelings towards that. Also, I just noticed you moved the member counter. Thank you. You are welcome, Dasher. When any entity leaves consumers up to a computer, it feels like they're ignoring all accountability. Yeah, that it's wild sometimes, like, and you get it, right? But sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, just use the machine. If the machine doesn't do it, then it won't work. And it's like, but you know, it's a really weird situation of when, like, a machine is better than a human when the machine works well, and infinitely worse than a human. Like, a human that makes a mistake is very understandable. A machine that makes a mistake is an unfixable problem. And I don't think that's, like, an easily solvable thing about software. Like, software, when it breaks, you know, like, we haven't worked out how to have unbreakable software, or software that once it breaks, it can easily recover itself. Like, if you get to the McDonald's checkout example that Xavier's using, and then it's not letting you check out or whatever, when you get to that situation, sorry, I'm getting such bad, I don't know what it is, my stomach's just feeling funky. Yeah, when you get to that situation, and you're at the machine, and you know, like it says like, ooh, there's been an error. I had the issue yesterday, chat. I was ordering, I think I was ordering at like a pub, and they're like, we can't calculate the quantity of your basket. Sorry, you can't place this order. And I'm like, why can't you calculate what is in my basket? It's literally like, it was one item. It was just, I think it was calamari or something. How can you not calculate that? It's like, anyway, but it was broken, and so I tried reloading the app. It didn't work. It's like, okay, if this was a person and their machine, yeah, if I spoke to a person and the person said, I have no idea how to work out what one calamari should cost. And I'm like, it says here on the menu $7.19. And they're like, yeah, but $7.19 plus nothing, what does that equal? It could be anything. I have no idea what to charge you. No, Togat, please don't torture yourself. Controversial take, Chantal. Chantal's controversial take is, oh yeah, that is a bold one. But yeah, in my city it's hard to find self-checkout because the theft is so bad. Oh, you know what, Hannah? That is, okay, I think that is one of the most interesting shifts we are seeing. Okay. So for anyone who's not familiar, self-checkouts have a lower cost because staff has an hourly wage, whereas a machine does not demand an hourly wage. But in exchange, more people feel comfortable stealing from a machine. Again, in the same way that a machine won't help you, you won't help a machine. If you go to the Tesco checkout and you give the cashier most of your items, but you keep a little chocolate bar hidden in your pocket, you'd feel bad about it. Lying to a machine, it's like, well, I'm just giving myself a discount. I've mentioned before, chat, I am one of these devious people. I put in croissant even when I know it's a chocolate croissant. What are they going to do? Are they going to send me to prison? I mean, I think there's like a minimum before police will get called to something. So literally, it's like it is up to them to catch me or not, and that makes me a bad person. By the way, that is actively stealing. You could even argue that is active deception. And if I said that to a human being, if I said to a person, "Oh yeah, that's a croissant, not a chocolate croissant," I would feel bad enough about that. Like I think I would have done something wildly wrong. Saying to a machine, though, I would like to pay 24p for this croissant rather than 39. I spoke to someone who works at a Tesco, and they said that actually there's a bunch of... People are so good at that now that they've worked out that, like, you know, an air fryer and, you know, like a bag of rice cost weigh the same. So you can scan... If you just get a fake barcode for the bag of rice, you can scan it, put your air fryer down, and unless the guy is looking and sees bag of rice... and looks at you and sees an air fryer, but like how often are they doing that, right? So there's a lot of like common like items they have to look out for as the ones that are using to steal some things. Anyway, I'm ashamed to be supporting a thief. So people steal from self-checkouts more. If you know, I as someone who does not believe in stealing for the most part, I'm very anti-theft, I would say. I see people, you know, like push through the tube barriers, and I'm like, what's even the point, you know? Like, what do we even live in a society? I feel comfortable lying to a machine in a way that I don't feel comfortable lying to a person. I actively do my best not to lie, even when lying is by far the correct thing to do. Well, I think we shouldn't design a society where lying is the correct thing to do. That's my crazy hot take. Also, why does the red stop from here to there? Should we fix that? Yeah, we might as well fix it. I guess we could fix it later when we get the red wool. And in the meantime, it could just look a little bit better. Yeah, for now, let's just do the ceiling. I think that's the most important bit. I watched a lady pull out 4 large spirit bottles from her trousers at Waitrose. Yeah, you don't realize just how many, how much alcohol is stolen from stores every day. Like, have you ever noticed it's in the high theft container? Again, I'm amazed by, like, how many things you just don't interact with if you're not in the right areas at the right time. And probably that's, like, to Tesco's benefit. If you saw someone walking out with 4 bottles of vodka, you genuinely might think to yourself, like, oh, apparently paying for vodka has been a choice all this time. It's one of the most expensive items, and it's supporting a company that literally poisons its customers, right? That's what vodka is. Why am I paying the vodka company £13? I do not condone theft, unless it is for chocolate croissants. And at which point, or rather, not even a full chocolate croissant. I believe in the theft of about 1/3 of the value of a chocolate croissant. That's my limit, I would say. I think that's where I draw the line. I think any more than about 14p. And I think you've gone too far. My most controversial opinion is Toycat should finish draining his monument someday. Let's go finish draining the monument then, Dasher. I ran out of tough bricks. I have to go all the way to my nether to get more. So why don't we instead just go do that? She was getting stopped at the alarm thingy. She was complaining that they were harassing her. Yeah, if you're just uncivil enough, people do that. You know, it's like as a kid, you watch enough police chases, and you realize, like, oh, if the police chase gets dangerous enough, the police just stop chasing the person, and it makes you realize, like, oh, as long as you can always run away from the police, as long as you do so dangerously, if you're willing to put the public's life on the line. But I've seen enough videos now where I think that is common knowledge. So or maybe the police just changed their mind. But I've seen now crazy police pursuits where more or less they now do go after people even when they're going like 100 through residential zones. Super interesting, at least to me. Anyway, yeah, let's change the stream title, chat. Let's do it. Let's do it. I forgot what KMB's idea was. I think it was the one I liked the most. But yeah, so self-checkouts replaced human checkouts under the idea that theft increases slightly, but labor costs go down a lot. You know, in exchange for spending £10,000 per machine once, maybe once every 3 years because they need an update or whatever, you can save £14 an hour forever, right? And how many hours does a human need to work at a checkout? God, it's dozens a week. per checkout even. So like, you know, you pay 10,000 once, you save 150 quid a week for, you know, as many weeks as it is, right? A price cap on stealing is still stealing. Yep, I am saying, James Weston, that 14p is the max you can steal before you should feel bad. I think everyone gets 14p once. If someone's driving recklessly through residential areas, I want them in jail even more. Oh, but the argument is, right, that if you stop chasing them, the risk to other innocent life is high. I know there's an interesting thing about all crime, that like we don't actually help anyone when we arrest a criminal. The only people we theoretically help are future victims, if there are going to be any, and existing victims. But let's say you kill someone. Let's say you kill an only child, or not an only child, an orphan who had no family who cared about them. And so when that and they don't, you know, they were living on the street, so literally no one will know they're gone. If you kill an orphan, chat, and then you never kill anyone ever again, and you know in your heart of hearts you're never going to do it again, and we as a society somehow know that information, even though it is unknowable, there's a real argument that locking you away does more harm than good. The reason we don't make that argument is because we don't want anyone going out and killing an orphan under the guise of, you don't want to lock me up. You'd be hurting yourself more than you'd hurt me. But I got caught stealing a sandwich and a plum once. I've never felt so dumb. Do you know what's crazy is I've exclusively been caught not stealing like more times than I am willing to. Like I got once I got when I was like 11, a security guard was like, "We know you stole this thing yesterday." One of our team members spoke to us about you specifically, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like I literally had not. And I was on the way to school at the time. So I was like, like check your security footage for that time, and you'll be able to see that I paid for this item. And I still, to give real credit to the guy, he did stop me like a week later, and he was like, "Oh, I did check the security cams. You did pay. Good job." I think that's such a big like. As a kid, I appreciated it, but as an adult, I appreciate it even more. So many people are so ridiculously stubborn, and I think it's like a cause of bad things in life, chat. So many people are so stubborn that they will, like their fear of being seen as being wrong is so high that they will still hold on to that feeling of like, yeah, but I was right anyway. But when I moved, I used to get followed around my local grocery store a lot. I think the security guards now know I'm weird and not stealing. Or that's the perfect cover story. Also, I got accused of stealing because I went in and out of the store too many times, according to the security guard. Yeah, I like the... I think a lot of people... I think especially, we talk about profiling a lot. I think the real profiling, in theft especially, is young people. And probably for good reasons. Like, if you give someone that big, dramatic, scary, you're banned, you can never come here again moment, when they're 14, they probably are going to commit fewer crimes than if they learn that at 30, right? Like, there is an age where you can still learn. I was thinking about that a little bit recently, chat. The idea that, like, there's a certain age where you learn so slowly that more or less you cannot be changed, right? And I'm amazed that, like, different people reach that point at different times. But, like, there seems to be, for a lot of people, what do you think's in this box? It's all endstone? Okay, all endstone. Oh, my controller's dead. This never happens on streams, chat. Oh, I've just got 5 shulker boxes full of endstone and 1 partially full. Let's take this. Let's put it in there. Let's grab a couple more. I think I see an empty stack in here. No, I don't. I see one in there, and I don't see one in there. Okay. So now we can put this endstone away somewhere. And we can take all of these and just take them home. I'm never going to remember they're here. Every time I see them, I'm like, oh, what a fun surprise that is. And that's a sign I shouldn't have it. So, to finish draining the social monument, I need to just finish this segment here. Okay, this segment here. This segment here. And this segment over here. You know, it is kind of crazy. This was one of the like first big project streams I did way back in the day that like caught some traction. It was people. It wasn't. No one watched it live. It might not have been a live stream actually. I don't remember if it was a live stream, but people watched it after it was live. It was like one of the most popular series for a bit. The YouTube algorithm favored this video in such a way. Ooh. I'm so low energy today, chat. Usually I can at least try to like, I have to respond to this message or the video doesn't go up. But you need my attention more, chat. Your need for my attention is higher than my own need for my attention, right? Usually I'm pretty good at like, okay, and so I can give you the attention, and then I can give. I'm just broken. So I hope to never reach the point where I can't learn. Yeah, I'm glad that you aspire towards that. I wish that more people aspired that way. It could also just be, but yeah, I think there's like a. It's like how many data points do you need on something before you've seen enough and you know how it works, right? You know, like you know when you get into a brand new game and you're in the tutorial and you know, like the game's trying to teach you things. At some point, you're going to understand the game perfectly. At least this is my experience from my own personal stuff on this. Like, at some point, you understand well enough, and the rest of the tutorial is just there to teach you stuff that you don't feel like you need to know. It's the same with like building furniture. Outside of IKEA, I think IKEA's done a pretty good job at convincing you to read the manual, I would say. I would say IKEA's done a really good job at convincing you to read the manual. But for like every other, you know, like thing, a piece of furniture you have to install, or like, you know, like task you have to do that involves reading something, I feel like most people like get the gist of it and then they're like, okay, good. And so I think people get that way of life where they're like, yep, I needed to learn how life worked and then I learned and now I can do rather than, oh, it's a lot of sand down here. I'm going to choose to pretend that doesn't exist. My life will be a lot happier that way. And now I've got 6 sponges, which isn't really enough, right? I've got a furnace inside here. Hopefully with some sponges sitting inside of it. No sponges, no sponges. I'll just throw them in. Maybe in the chest I've got sponges. I've got gravel. That's useful, I guess. I thought I had some sponges lying around here, but I am mistaken. So you ran part of a 5K. It's exhausting. I ran the entire thing, if you'll believe it, Jeff Shannon. I peer pressured myself in running the whole thing. But I feel like physical and mental exhaustion should be different things. I'm bummed to learn that they are not. Note to self: don't go to Tugget's house, or you'll injure yourself on his half-done furniture. Oh, that sounds like a joke, but that is not an unfair description of furniture I have built myself. There is I don't know if I've showed it off in any videos. I have the most horrible looking chest of drawers. When I got a new tenant, when I got a lodger, I should say, temporarily, one of their like conditions was like, well, I'll need furniture, and so I was like, okay, I can buy this furniture, I can buy this thing, and this thing, like, it's gonna cost like this amount to get it assembled. I'll assemble this myself, and you do not want to know how bad this piece of furniture looks, having not been assembled myself, or having been assembled by the worst furniture assembler you know, also known as myself. So yeah, this is a pretty effective way of doing things, I guess. We're getting there. We don't even need that many sponges, I bet, but we do need to make sure that we bring just exclusively. We need to bring a lot of sponges over here if we're gonna finish this. Let's do it. Okay, so now we need to make a thumbnail for this, chat. Finishing my oldest Minecraft project. Let's do it. Finishing my oldest Minecraft project. There we go. Are you making a merman chamber? I have no idea what a merman chamber is. I can't even theorize at what a merman chamber is. So yeah, sure. Why not? So I need to get out of here, chat. Oh, there's 2 drowns below me. I need to get out of here. I need to go get my sponges. I'll grab like 2 stacks of sponges. Okay, can I... Oh! Okay, I cannot... I can sort of fly from here to here, right? Yeah, I can get a little bit of flight in that. Okay, chat, we're doing it. We're doing it, chat. I've just got to fly. Damn it. Yay! You can fly straight out of water if you believe in yourself. Yeah, I'm pretty close to draining it, so we just, like, finish these sections in particular. We'll get at least a lot of sand back, and at most a lot of heart. Finishing, is this a 12-hour stream now? How much for a furniture made by Toy Cat? Man, you want to see the furniture I produce. It is, what's the word? Bespoke. That is, I think, the politest word we could use for it. So, chat, do you actually immediately dry sponges if you place it down in a hot biome? Let's find that out. No, you do not. Useful to know. I can't begin to imagine where your 1,000 sponges went. Oh, I know where my 1,000 sponges are. I know where my 1,000 sponges are. Okay, so okay, we're good. But yeah, I feel like I kind of take this attitude towards a lot of things, which is if you don't care about the thing, you know, like it's the min-max attitude towards life. I think there's a lot of things where, you know, like doing something inadequately or not doing it at all. Yeah, like are so much worse than. I'll put it this way, right? When you have to do like homework for school, and you know the teacher doesn't care about setting the homework, she's just meant to set homework and do the home. So what you end up realizing very quickly, at least if you're me, is also I'm gonna need more sponges. Yeah, you don't want 2 sponges. 2 stacks of sponges will be just fine, probably. And we'll go back through the Nether. No, we'll fly over. We'll be great. What's the difference between physical X? I do not know. So where are the sponges? I keep a big sponge shulker box, and in this case, it was kept perfectly. Yeah, let's go back here. But yeah, chat, do you want to know about one of my dumbest creative blocks? I really want to play super flat hardcore, but also I'm very aware of how much I've had 2 very lucky runs, and if you have a more realistic run, it's just pain. Like waiting, having to stay inside because there are phantoms, not being able to do anything else. It sounds like a really dull time. Like I got really lucky and didn't have to deal with that. And so my solutions are like, okay, well, you start again, but not difficult. No, that's not good. You start again, but... And so, like, the only one that comes up is like, okay, so I have to do the hardcore, but not hardcore idea. I use a backup of my hardcore world that I have. But then, I think there's a struggle of, like, it is a... Because it is a hardcore world, or it was a hardcore world when I started it, I'm invalidating that piece of hardcore, at least. I've taken a hardcore world where I've died and I've said, okay, but it's, I'm still keeping it going anyway. So I'm making like mid-core, which, some of the value in hardcore is in knowing that when the world dies, it's gone forever. Whereas if I revive the world using a backup, it's not gone forever. Minecraft on hard difficulty doesn't have enough mobs. Is that true? You can do it, you just have to stay focused at all times. Yeah, which, to be fair, in itself is a hard requirement. If we're being, entirely honest with ourselves, as I would like to be. I should have put the end stone away somewhere. I think there's definitely a glut of sand that I have no practical way to deal with right now. So I'll go take some of this sand back, because I'm not going to need all of the sand again. And then I'll also put some sand over here. And then I'll also start putting my wet sponges in furnaces. Nice. What about super flat made out of magma? Funnily enough, I think a super flat made out of magma would be harder because no skeletons would spawn on it. There's probably a fun question of like, what is the hardest super flat? That is a really fun question. That is a really fun question. What if you start a realm, let the viewer try surviving the super flat survivor? Oh, you know, Mewtwo fan 001 MC? I did that already. You can check it out on this channel if you want to. It was one of my fail-often ideas, because I made the assumption that everyone watching the server videos would be interested. Oh, there's so much sand in here. I assumed everyone watching the server videos would be equally interested if the server videos were, you know, all about Minecraft gameplay. I greatly miscalculated that, gotta say. So now I'll make a big pile of end stone down here and drop the end stone in. Yeah, nice. Then we'll take some sand out, and we're gonna have to get a lot of sand to throw in here, but that's okay. We can do that. So yeah, let's go finish off. Actually, you know, let's go do these little sections first. We've already got some sponges in the furnace. I think we could finish all of these with these 2 stacks. No time whatsoever. And then it would just be that little corner. Oh, no, we can't. Oh, it's... I think it's, like, slightly too big or something. It'd be so quick, but it's okay. Oh, yeah, it's working, though. It's working. So you can place sponges in the nether and they'll dry out. Yeah, that's my plan when I get too many, Antone. Like, if I have 100 wet sponges, it's going to be faster to use the nether. I think just right now, particularly, it's faster not to. But that will eventually not be true. So let's break this. Pick up some extra sand. Yeah, the real pain is in getting all of these extra wet sponges. If only we had like a crab claw or something. Something that could let us reach further. Toycat not following his own tips and trips. Oh no, yeah, no, my plan is exactly to go to the nether. I mentioned the hot biome thing, right? But I'm using the furnace right now just to get a few extra. So that if I'm like a few short, they'll be pre-ready for me. Because the nether is far away, but my furnace is right there. I think that's the most interesting thing about tips and tricks. You know, like I love weird edge cases for things. That's my like, I think that's like something I've realized is like, I love when something doesn't make sense, except in this really niche situation where it makes perfect sense. Higher, faster, further. Very indeed. I voted for the armadillo. You know, Fox King, I'm not saying you voted wrong, but I am saying that you voted in a way that led to the mob vote being discontinued. I'm just saying, you know, imagine having an election in a country, and then after that election, it's like, oh, we're actually, most citizens aren't in favor of democracy anymore. You know, you'd feel pretty bad. You'd be like, ooh, maybe I should have reconsidered voting for the, I don't know, the kill all the good people party. Kill the people with glasses party, there we go. I voted for Armadillo too. You know, it's okay. We all make mistakes. We all, you know, I steal croissants, you corrupt democracy. We're on the same level. I steal about 1/3 to 1/4 of the value of a croissant by net value. And you steal 100% of democracy. Equal parts evil. Voted for the Phantom and I'm still happy about it. Yeah, don't tell people I voted for the Phantom. I'll never be able to complain about them again in peace if people hear. So, yeah, you're my first source of tips and tricks, and I do this not in the videos. I'll be watching them several times each. Oh, that's awesome, Johnny Blaze. Yeah, the real tip you need to learn is that every tip you hear is like when that thing is equally or similarly accessible. So if I had access to the nether and no furnace, it would be dumb to use a furnace. If I had equal access to both, it'd be smarter to use the nether because the nether is faster and uses no fuel. Unless for some reason I didn't want to go to that dimension. And in this case, my biggest reason not to want to go to that dimension is time. Me and my 2 daughters voted once for each choice. Wait, oh, it's a spider jockey. It's a spider. Oh, yeah. Oh, rough. Oh, very rough. Okay, so let's grab some sponges. Now let's go for a ride. Or actually, you know what? We should break all the wet sponges first, I guess. That does make the most sense. So break. Yeah, I think this is actually one of those activities that is best done with the keyboard and mouse. It's, there's just so much, like, maneuvering around we have to do. This just feels like it makes the most sense. Okay, there we go. Plenty of wet spoongies. So next up, James Barrow just watched a Minecraft movie. It would have been 100 times better if the two kids weren't in it. Jason and Jack were hilarious. Children clapping through the final fight, and I died inside. Yeah, I've heard that's the thing to do now. I've heard that's what you do. You cheer whenever Jack Black's on screen, and you boo. I do have to say, let's be real. Every single character besides Jack Black and Jason Momoa are tangential. Henry has some value because he's young. Maybe we could argue. Henry, like I really like I think the actress who plays Emma, I would say. You know, she plays a good character with a good point about family or something like that. But there's so many parts of that movie that are just like, why did they need this? Why did the movie need to be set in Ohio? Sorry, in Ohio, sure. But why did it need to be set in Idaho? What value did that bring to the movie? Can anyone give me a good answer to that question? I am struggling to find one. Okay, so break both of those. Pick up the wet sponges. And we'll throw them in a furnace. It'll be great. But yeah, can anyone explain that to me? I need someone to explain why it being in Idaho helped the movie at all. Like, it was clearly in New Zealand. Why not just say it was in New Zealand? Do American audiences not relate to a Minecraft that comes from New Zealand? Is that the problem there? The cave only opens up during the full moon. Ooh, spooky sounding. Okay, so we'll pick out these sponges using that. We've got a couple of extras, but it's fine. Put the fish in there. And maybe the redstone torch too. I think the value it brings to my inventory is quite low. Why does anything take place anywhere? You know what? Cork rum, that's a really good point. I'm actually quite, this is why I cannot work in the film industry. I think I would love to make a movie where the characters' names are the actors' names. Like, why do we need to invent, like, what value does it bring for, besides Jack Black being Steve, because he's an in-game character, why does, Sebastian, I think is the name of the kid, why does he need to be called Henry? Does him being called Henry change the plot in some vast way? No, not really. Like, have them all be called Henry, be like, oh, we're all in New Zealand right now. What are we doing in New Zealand? Oh, yeah, you know, like, working at the potato factory is such a dumb plot line. No, they don't work at the potato factory. They work as actors, and they've currently got a job working on a movie somewhere. You know, make it as believable as possible so the actors don't have to, you know, like, make believe so hard. Because then if they have to make believe less hard, it'll be more believable. It's like how, you know, like, some Hollywood actors and actresses, I think actually actors are in the now, but some Hollywood people are, like, absolutely stunningly beautiful, right? That's their whole reason they get hired for movies. Is there some, they see wet sponges down there? No, that's a slime. But, like, a lot of Hollywood actors are, like, normal people, and that's what people like. They like the, you know, I'm trying to think of a normal-looking guy, Seth Rogen. Or like the actress from The Last of Us. I think everyone is very much a big fan of how she looks like a normal person right now. Should have taken place in Russia and they should have all drank vodka. Yeah, I think we can either say it takes place where it takes place, or, you know, if we're gonna change it to make it best for the audience, okay, it doesn't take place in Idaho unless you're watching it in Idaho. We dub it to every single state, and they're like, we have just moved to United Kingdom. In United Kingdom, there are lots of, you know, like, fish and chips. I work at the fish and chip factory. Potato factory is another way of saying vodka factory. You know, if you think about it, you're not wrong, actually, Jeff Shannon. You're not actually wrong. Okay, so there we go. That is now this broken, and now we can get a bunch of sand, which we can hopefully use usefully over here. So I'm just gonna place some. I've got a lot of sand here. I can't believe how much sand I have in this world. That is just entirely unusable. I did not realize just how much I had, chat. Let's go up there and let's put some sand down. Should have been in Ireland for the potato storyline to make sense. You know what, Fishy Tunak? Also, Fishy Tunak. But you know what, Fishy Tunak? You make a very good point, probably. Okay, so this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 blocks wide, which means if we include dividing lines, we put them on the 7th and the 14th block. Now we put it on the 6th and the 12th block. So block number 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just place some of those down. Make sure we kill that fella. See where the sand's been going? There's the sand. Well, let's place them up. Oh, I missed it. So clearly doing the maths wrong. But yeah, like why do we have to change where something is set at all? I'm a pretty, you know, like if you actually look into where a lot of movies are done, it used to be California because that was the place where all the movie industry just like made the most sense. But nowadays, like they always film somewhere like New Zealand or British Columbia is a big one too. Or like the UK. Do you know how many movies are shot in the UK? We have like really good tax credits for it. And so I like when movies embrace that and they're like, yes, we are in London, welcome, you know, and they do like the whole silly London sequence that has London buses to try and show people like, look, it's the London you know. You could visit this place too, but there wouldn't be terrorists attacking it. But yeah, there's no reason for it to be in Idaho. I think it adds nothing to the plot. It adds no value to anything. And so if we're just doing it for pandering reasons, you know, like so Americans can be like, I don't understand what's happening in New Zealand, but I understand Idaho like the back of my hand. That's where all my potatoes at the grocery store say they're from. Side note, that is the weirdest thing about going to America. All the potatoes do say Idahoan potatoes. And it makes me feel a bit strange if I'm being totally honest with you. So this sand is going a little bit higher up than I was actually going for. So we're going to place the sand here, but then we're going to actually move out one block. This seems insane, chat, but hear me out. If we move this in one block, we will achieve nothing, but it will look different and save me some work later. Idaho was a good choice. In what world was Idaho a good choice? Also Atlanta, Georgia. Oh yeah, Atlanta. Made in Georgia. Filmed in Georgia, or whatever the thing is at the end. You know, okay, you know, I'm such a plain nerd, I want to give you this fact for free, everyone in the internet. As if all the other facts I give you are a paid subscription service. But, yeah, so because there are so many movies filmed in Atlanta, or rather, because there are so many movies filmed in Georgia, because Georgia gives you huge tax credits, California basically takes advantage of the fact that you know you have to be there because of union jobs and stuff. So in California, you basically pay the full price of your movie. In Atlanta and in Georgia, they give you these huge tax benefits. And so a lot of the movie industry is in LA. Specifically Hollywood, which is just a part of the LA area. And a lot of movies are in Georgia, and not that far from Atlanta. And so one of the few flights in the US that is domestic, that gets like full proper first class, is that LAX to Atlanta flight. Because the number of like high, you know, like executive producers and actors and stuff that are in there. Idaho needs potatoes, because otherwise it'd be another Iowa, Illinois, Ohio variant. Yeah, I feel like, you know, without offense to Americans in your states, I feel like you got a bit too ambitious when creating the Western states. That's my hot take. I think that by the time you got to like, again, I think Iowa. By the time you got to Iowa, you should have been like, can we just make the rest of this one big state? I think Montana. I think there's just too many states over there. 2 Dakotas? Are you kidding me? And I know some of them are like slavery compromised states, so like, you know, like you're trying to save those people that you're also enslaving. You can make an argument for that, but I think that there's just too many states. You know, like let's pick a number of states and let's stick with it. And that number shouldn't have been 50. 50 is a nice round divisible number, but 40 would have been too. You know, 40 great states in one nation. You know, you chose to dilute yourself, is what I'm saying. You know, I imagine the UK. We're a country where, you know, there's 4 countries in the UK, is how it is commonly stated. It's incorrectly stated, but there's 4 countries in the UK. Imagine if we were like, oh yeah, and we're gonna divide Cornwall into 8 new countries. You'd be like, no, that's dumb. You can't have 12 countries and 8 of them are in Cornwall. But do you know what % of the US population lives in like exclusively? I think you can get to 50% of the US population just from the top 7 states, is it? You know, the remaining 43 states might as well not. You know, like I'm actually, yeah, I was gonna say might as well not exist and then say that's a bit harsh. No, exactly the right amount of harsh. You know, I think you should merge the next 43 states down into 3 big ones. 50 is a good factor of 100, etc. Yeah, it does almost seem like, you know, like 50 was the goal, right? You know, like, I don't think Alaska or Hawaii would become states today if you were already at 50 states. I think they're both clearly like territory-ish. But like 50, you know, you want to be the president who gets up to, you know, like a nice round number of states. I don't blame, was it Eisenhower? I don't blame whoever was in charge at the time for wanting it. I do blame anyone who allowed it to happen though. Okay, so let's go. We have to do one of these little launch flies here. Nope, did not work. Okay, so we're flying in the water. No! This is the most annoying maneuver in Minecraft, but we did it. I'm alive, vaguely. Let's get some sleep in. Man, it's nice out here. It's a nice little corner of the world. They should make a huge river down the middle of the US. Oh, there's an idea, Fishy Tunak. There's an idea. You could divide the east between the... You know, I'm not going to make a Man in the High Castle reference. That show's too bad. I feel bad bringing it up. They made chat. There's no, I'm bringing it up. But they made an alternate reality show about what if the US lost somehow World War II and then got divided between the Germans and the Japanese. And they have a really good world building and a really good season 1, and then they just ruin it and it just goes nowhere. And then it's like one of those shows that like baits you, I guess. But it's like you know, I got clickbaited by a TV show and I didn't realize till I was 12 hours in. I'm still bitter about it. The states were so perfectly divided into 13 colonies. California, Louisiana, Texas, and Oregon. Why do we have to split them up? Yeah, I guess the argument probably was from people in old states being like, we might be diluted. But in a weird way, you get diluted in the Senate this way. In a strange way, like, territories which didn't exist at the founding of the US make up, what, like 76%? 74% of the votes. Anyway, your dad knows someone who met Colonel Sanders. You know, that's fun. Also, we have 10 provinces in Canada. Yeah, see, right, I think it's going to be a real hard sell to ever add an 11 province cork rum. Like, there's been discussions about the Turks and Caicos Islands joining Canada. But the place that's always going to fall down, it's like, well, they're not going to get full provincial status. What are we going to do? Have 11 provinces? Do you know how insane that is? I would argue you just have to, like, remerge Prince Edward Island back into New Brunswick. Like, what are they going to do otherwise? They're going to leave Canada? No one should tell Toycat about the proposed state of liberty. You know, no one should tell me. You're right. So, the ending came so suddenly. Wyoming getting 2 senators is rough, says Jeff Shannon. Unless you live in Wyoming, in which case it's awesome, I bet. You know, yeah. So when I was very close to living in the US, right? I don't know how many years I'd have had to be there till I could vote. Hey, Google. Wait, no, I'm not gonna do that to you anymore, chat. I've learned that sets off people's Googles. But yeah, the really cool thing is I was gonna, that like Nevada is both a small state, so it's overrepresented, but also a swing state. I was gonna get to have more of a say over U.S. democracy than someone who had lived there their entire life and who, you know, presumably cared. You know, I mean, I would like to believe I care more than most people born in the U.S., but I also think it's a interesting case. You set it off anyway. Wyoming doesn't have that big population relative to its size, does it? Hey, Goo. Also, it's an interesting experience in high school, college for sure. I know English better than the teachers. Wait, where'd that come from? Dasher? Oh, Soviet / Russian English teachers have a thing for British English. They consider it the one and only proper English. You know, that's my favorite thing, Dasher, is I'm not even... that hey Google's enough. I tried so hard not to. Yeah, you know, I think more countries should hold that view. You'd be surprised, a lot of East Asia... Also, what hit me there? Oh, it was maybe him. And I think it is... It's a really interesting case of... Okay, so... In the English language, I think even a British person would concede that even though there are lots of words the Americans just do wrong... Oh, it is a Guardian. You know, like... I don't know, like, why does the U go away from armor? It doesn't make sense to me. The you know, like there's a lot of words I just don't agree with the American spelling for it all. I got in trouble at school. I used to spell I used to spell certain words with a Z, and like that seemed entirely logical to me. You know, like realize isn't spelled with a Z in the English language. I spent too long on the internet, and it ruined a lot of my spell. I'd always get circles and like lose a mark. I passed English by like 3 marks in the end. Like my life would be so drastically different if I didn't. And it was so I almost failed English. I almost failed the study of my own country's language because the bulk of people who speak it don't speak it the way that I speak it. And so I even as a British person, though, right? And even if I want to be the most patriotic British person alive, you know, rule Britannia, Britannia rule the waves, Britons never, never shall be slaves. But the important thing is that, like, no matter how much you want to be, no matter how patriotic I want to be, I would still concede that under the rules of English, there's no, like, set way to do it. You know, it's really easy to look at a dictionary and say, yeah, the dictionary tells us, in it, the dictionary says, like, what the words the English is spelt. So if it's in the dictionary, it must be true. But it's like, no, the dictionary doesn't tell you, it doesn't decide. The dictionary describes. The dictionary, you know, the dictionary cannot tell you how anything is spelt, or if anything is a word or not. We collectively decide it. And admittedly, there are more American speakers. There are more American speakers than British speakers. And so I have to concede that, okay, therefore, the way that you say, you know, this one hurts me, chat. The, you know, to become comfortable with something is to climatize or acclimatize, which is, you know, like there's a lot of words like that where I'm like, you know, this doesn't make sense to me. It will never be a part of my my instinctive vernacular. But I would still, you know, like, okay, clearly a lot of people who speak this language share it. And so what value do I have in not doing it that way? The same is true for, like, when I do YouTube titles, armor is not spelt without a U, chat. The U is in there. But when I make a YouTube title, it's in my benefit to leave out the U. Because, you know, British, it's one fewer letter, gets the same message across, like no British person is confused by armor without a U. And then therefore you get more title and fewer letters. And also, any Americans who happen to search for armor without the U might find the video in a way they wouldn't otherwise. I despise English exercises because the system is so in love with British English that it uses extremely obscure 80s British slang. Oh, that is really fun, Dasher. That's really, really fun. But it makes sense, right? Because if you live in it, even though the English language, even though we view English as being a, you know, something that is, it's not something that is created. It's something that's described, not created. English isn't created in a lab somewhere like some languages are. English is something that exists the way that we believe it exists. And so it's beautiful, really. But because if you live in a country where the language is created in a lab somewhere, I don't know how Russian is described, Dasher. There's no real countries outside of Russia that speak Russian. There was for a little bit, but you guys made sure that it's a part of Russia now. But so, like, I imagine that, like, you know, Moscow English is a thing. That the English you speak there is going to be the English that people should be taught. And so from that perspective, the place that would decide how English is spoken in terms of how you should learn it probably would be the UK. And so we get a little benefit in that even though we don't measure things that way, other countries do, and it puts us on a thing. Also, I don't know how a language could be created in a lab, says Hannah Joys. You know, a language lab, right? You know, there's a bunch of scientists being like, ooh, there is space for a word that could describe what it is like when you take a photography with your telecommunication device. We shall call it the self-portrait photo-y. You know, like basically anything can be done in a lab. If you care about something enough, you can do it in the lab, you know. You know, like that's my take. I'm sticking with it. That's why language scientists French. Why are the language scientists French? The language scientists, they They speak French because it is a language that it could only be conceived of inside of a French bureaucratic lab. You see, I don't know what accent I'm doing at this point, honestly. So, oh my god. Yeah, so that's your explanation. Hope it's a good one. Hope you find it useful. So now all of this needs to just be trained, but then we're good, chat. Then we're good. And the entire thing. Oh, actually all of that too. So let's go put this sand somewhere special. I don't know what somewhere special is right now, but let's go do it. So, yeah, I'm gonna put all the sand away now. Sandy, sandy, sandy. And the Nautilus shell. And the copper. And now we're gonna have to go out. I should put the stone in there too. Now let's just go pick up the rest of the sponges, making sure we don't drop any. And then we'll finish collecting that sand there too. And then that should be a real good place for us. Indian English is the real English because it has the most speakers. Ooh, you know, that is a bold... I think the reason it doesn't work is because it's the same reason why Mandarin is the second most spoken language in the world, but not one of the most useful languages to speak. And not, like, you know, in international diplomacy, if you're not using English to speak, you'll use either the regional language, or you might use French. Or, you know, sometimes Spanish, depending on the... Again, but you could argue that's a regional language, but, like, English, French, and Spanish have, like, the top 3 spots for world language. Maybe there's a, you know, like, Chinese and Russian fighting for 4th. But that's despite the fact that there's a bunch of native speakers of both languages. Way more Chinese than Russian speakers, just by virtue of the scale of that. And it's like, so why is that? And it's because English speakers are, like, really distributed around the world. You can be in, you know, like, you can be in Singapore and there's English. But, therefore, I think the problem with the people in India who speak English is a lot of them speak it as a second language. And so it's not as fundamentally useful. But even, like, I could be wildly wrong on this. So, fact check this before you... But I think even though, like, 500 million Indians speak English, only, like, a few million speak it as their primary language. Most Indians speak one of the other ones. My brain never remembers the names of the Indian languages. But English is just great because the 2 halves of India speak different languages, and English is a better bridge than nothing. I want to say Hindi. Does that sound right? Hindi always sounds like a religion to me. It always feels offensive to be like, there's no way it's Hindi. But I think it is Hindi, and, like, not Urdu. I think Urdu might be Iran. But this, yeah, and so yeah, the same thing is true of China. So bear in mind that, like, then also the Indians who speak English aren't speaking it primary and aren't usually leaving India as much as British people and Americans are. Same problem with China and their dialects. It's the hardest to appreciate fact about Chinese as someone who doesn't speak, you know, like, a lot of language. But, yeah, so everyone who is smart in this field describes it this way. Chinese is not one language in the way that you think of a language. What Chinese is they took a bunch of, you know, like, they took a bunch of languages, effectively, and made them all spell the same way. So you know how in, like, English you would say, good morning, and in German you say good Morgen, or whatever, right? Is it good Morgen? Hello, good morgen. Yeah, like, hello, good morning. Hello, good morgen. Right, it's, like, very, very similar. And so if you just told Germans, or even, right, rather, you tell English speakers, now you will spell your language in German. Right? If we just say English speakers, you can say the same words, and you will say the same words, but if you ever write down English straight officially, you have to write it in German. We wouldn't all suddenly start speaking German because in our books I'm writing, hello, good morgen, die spielen Katze, it's the good, guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Yeah, it is Guten Morgen, you're right. Guten Morgen, a series of dialects reformed into a unified system. Yeah, the amount of difference between the Chinese dialects is more than there is between languages. And there's a famous phrase to describe this. A language, the difference between a language and a dialect is if you have a flag in an army. Like, if you have the, you know, like one country has one language, two countries have two languages. So if one, you know, like if one country divides into two, like North Korean is already different to South Korean, and they literally spoke the same language 50 years ago. And so eventually there will be two different languages, North Korean, South Korean. Right now you could already argue it's there. But if North and South Korea stayed unified, but like the people never moved from one side to the other, they would have the exact same level of language difference they do now, but you would call it a dialect because it was within, you know, one Korea. It's really, really weird where we draw the line. It's because, I don't know, languages are confusing. Love your videos, by the way, Toycat. You inspired me to make a forever world, says Wax Lightly Weather Cuts Copper Stairs. I recently lost all my worlds because my Minecraft file was corrupted. I had to uninstall, reinstall, and lost my world. Make sure, okay, so pro tip, especially on Windows, really, really, really be sure to back up your world. I am so sorry I got that message to you too late. But yeah, man, that is such a bummer. Sorry to hear that. Make sure to back up your world though, chat. Right now, you hear about this disaster. That disaster could be you. You could do something about it. Okay, so chat, here's something of note to me, at least anyway. Also, yeah, so here's something I thought was notable. I was reading a thread recently about, like, before seatbelts were mandatory, like, some people were, like, really strict about wearing them and some people weren't. And it's something that applies to a lot of things where, like, you know, you'll hear, like, oh yeah, my dad is a firefighter, so he insists that we always, you know, do this or whatever. Like, I've heard of people who are nurses. They're like, they never let their family put their feet on the dashboard. Side note, but putting your feet on the dashboard is very fun. Done it quite a few times in my life. Specifically only when I was, like, trying to be, like, overly casual in someone else's car in America. But, like, still, it's a lot of fun. But, like, I've read, like, oh yeah, anyone who's, like, worked in a hospital is like, yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. Don't ever do that. And I think that's, like, an interesting thing of, like, if you experience something, even if it's very rare, the amount of horrifying that thing is enough to make you, like, not want to do the thing. You know, that's not a very unique observation, is it? But you know, chat, dull observation. You can ignore that. It's fun till your legs are the wrong way, says Antonia Xavier. Hey, Xavier, we've got someone with the exact same username as you, but it's got Antonia before it, and then Xavier is in brackets. Hey, Xavier, you might find this interesting. Where's Xavier? I guess we can never have them both in the same room. I've seen the same person a few times driving with his foot out the window. Oh, that also sounds fun in a perverse way to me. That sounds like a lot of fun. Toycat's Uber driver, sir, please move your feet from the dashboard. Look, if you're also, wow, 6 ink sacks. Wow, I've got an ink farm, chat. I need ink sacks. Quite bad, as it turns out. No, actually I don't, because you can, outside of book and quills, you can just make other things. Same with the butterfly clips in the cart. You don't want that to stuck to your skull. Take it off. What is a butterfly clip? I'll Google right now. What is a... Yeah, I'm curious about... Okay, the Q&A. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened here, chat. So weird. Yeah, yeah, very, very strange. Huh. Yeah, chat. The Q&A went out with the wrong title and thumbnail. So I'm gonna go work out how that happened real quick. Okay, I'm getting hit by a Guardian, it's fine. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so the video is called... Oh, no, yeah, so there we go. Okay, That's how this happened. So what did... Oh, yeah, what a bummer. I got good news today, chat. I got great news today, chat. WTF, you're paused? Was I paused? Oh, it's Realms. That's why it's still paused. What is a butterfly clip? Sorry, I got... Chat, I don't... Can someone help me with this? I cannot use my phone. Okay, you know... Let me describe my problem to you, chat. You need your phone to do some things in life, right? And it's really useful that you can do some things with your phone. But, like, as soon as I open my phone, if there's a notification I need to see, I have to deal with that notification, right? So, like, the Q&A thing, it went out the wrong, you know, like, it went out the wrong title and thumbnail. Very, very funny mistake. Hope you enjoy if you get to see it right now. It's like, it went... But, yeah, how do you look at your phone and do what you want to do and then, like, come back for the important things later? And, like, because it always happens when I'm, like, out in public and, like, need to do something, like, just search up something right now. Or even what is more important? Is it more important still the Q&A? Or is it more important I find out what a butterfly clip is? Let's go look for a butterfly clip. Butterfly clips are sparkly hair accessories. Oh, okay. Oh, it's the two things that do that thing? How could that be an issue in a car crash? You know, this sounds fake. Don't believe it. I'm gonna continue to wear my butterfly clips in the car. Oh, we can get a ton of bones this way. We can make a little bone farm. I mean, I guess the Guardian farm is probably more useful objectively. So what should we do? You know, do we even need a Guardian farm? It's not what I'm here for. I'm here to drain the last corners and pick up these last sponges. It looks so much nicer now we've got 3 corners of this done. I've got to say, it does look so much nicer. And now we can section this off. Have multiple phones. Yeah, Toycat, hi Toycat, I hope you're having a great weekend. Thank you! Yeah, no, it's been a really busy day, but so I had a plan, chat, to do a really long Let's Play about a subject. And then I started going and I was like, I want to just do this. I think this would be so cool to just, like, one take it. And so, like, I just rolled. I just did the entire thing as one long take. I think we let phones interrupt us way too often, when in reality there's very little that we really have to deal with right then and there. Yeah, I think that's a problem. I guess almost what I'm describing though, Ulraf, is like you're distracting yourself from a distraction. You know, do I need to know what a butterfly clip is? Or, you know, wouldn't it be better if I let Hannah Joyce describe what a butterfly clip is? But then also, I don't know, I think I picked, like, the one... I guess you could even argue, like, the wrong title thing is, like, it's not that important. To me, it feels like, oh yeah, I've basically, you know, like, just not uploaded a video if I upload a video of the wrong title. Like, to my, you know, to my, like, data-driven brain, I'm like, yeah, if this gets 10,000 views instead of getting 20,000 views, or 15,000 views instead of 50,000 views, that's the difference between, like, oh yeah, this video goes well and the channel goes well, and oh yeah, I worked for free today. It's a scary thing. So what is the good news? Dasher asks. The good news is Toycat's Toolkit. We got it finished certification earlier than expected, and so now we can release it. I think at the end of May is the plan. I'm really excited. I'm amazed at how many people have been enjoying Boss Blitz, and so I'm curious to see how people go with this. I like logic based in data because it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you can't see in data. But I also think there's a lot of things you can. You know, like, not being able to see something in data is not the norm. It might be the exception, you know? And so I try to make data-driven decisions. But there's also some things where that just is fundamentally impossible, right? Also, I've got a wandering trader. Should we kill him to get a milk bucket? Chat, you know it's a good idea. You know it's a great idea. So, what's he trading? Has he got any wildflowers for me, maybe? Okay, I'll kill you first. So I can sell him a milk bucket. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Come on, wandering trader. I need to find you. There you are. Okay, I've got to trade the invisible man. So if I wanted to, I could buy acacia saplings, red sand. I think red sand is a good deal. I probably should buy it every time it comes up. I just can't bring myself to. Also, chat, is that a village over there? Have I had a village there the whole time and just never known about it? Nope, that's a lava pit. Makes a lot more sense. Anyway, so here is what my grand project is looking like now. It's going pretty well. So Lisa Power says, I have a horrible car crash with a butterfly clip in my hair. It's not a pleasant experience when your head slams against the headrest. Oh, yeah. That doesn't sound fun. I wouldn't be able to know what it's like for you as a YouTuber. No, these things matter for the bottom line. It's always more stress-inducing when money is involved. Yeah, I had a moment yesterday where someone was like, they just said the word overdraft. And I was like, oh, God, I got a urgent notification like yesterday that I had to deal with something by the end of the day related to an overdraft. And I was like, I don't know if I did that, and I need to do that right now. But yeah, I think it would be cool. You know, I like going like cyclical logic about this all the time. Sometimes I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you could just be like chill about all financial decisions? Like, you know, it's nice to imagine going to the grocery store and like just genuinely not even thinking about the prices. Not caring, not thinking. Like, you know what? Whether this costs £3 or £4, I'll just buy it. Whether this costs, you know, I saw something I wanted to buy today, chat. It's they're called like extra custody custard creams, and they were 50p, and I was excited. And I realized, you know what? Would I have paid 75p for these? Would I have paid £1 for these? If they, you know, if they were good enough, would I have paid £1.25 even? You know, you know, like these being so cheap is exciting to me because I care about money in a way that it's not if you just go, it's whatever it is. If I'm just willing to pay for the price regardless. But then I guess like on the other end of that, you know, like but then I actually do think it works on the other end too. I think spending a lot of money on something will make the thing nicer if you appreciate that a lot of money is the deprivation of something else, you know? I think a lot of people, it's really easy to like game yourself into believing that nothing is worth spending money on because it will not allow you to buy other things later. But I also feel like you can really easily be like, you can enjoy something more because it is something that, you know, oh man, ignoring those bees, it's not my problem. 50p for a packet or a single one? It was for an entire pack of the custard creams. I feel like 50p for a regular packet of custard creams is probably about the standard. I feel like maybe if it's far off. I think it was 35p when I was a kid, and I feel like prices have inflated by more than that. Anyway, let's throw our sand away, including our entire shulker box. And finally, we'll just put the endstone in here. It's cool, because I think I've done some endstone projects where I needed some of these. So having an entire shulker box filled with it is nice. And then let's go to the nether, because I've got my sponges to dry off. Is that Shattered Savannah a jungle? The Shattered Savannah, so, you know, okay, you know, this is fun, Hannah Joys. The Savannah biome over there is not a Savannah. I don't know what the biome is. It might be a desert. You know, this is the cool thing about Java, I guess, where we just, like, F3 and find out what biome we're in. But yeah, now we're in the nether, we can just place these down. Just spam them all down. Make a nice old block of sponge, I guess. It feels a bit weird to do this. You know, the humidity level in here must be getting crazy high if I'm just drying all my sponges. Oh wait, those are regular sponges. I don't need to place those. So, place the rest of these down. And let's hoe them up. Oh, no. Okay, let's just put that back. What do we put underneath this? A chest. Sounds great to me. Now, chat, if you ever see a chest under there, just know I just needed to stack myself up, and it was all I had. Yeah, I guess this is actually quite an inconvenient room to do it in because the floor is horrible. But still, that fast. A lot faster than a furnace if we happen to be near the nether. Not a lot faster if we're not. So, yeah, I think that things being cheaper and expensive, I think money having value is like really great and really interesting sometimes. But I also feel like, you know, the inner hippie in me is like, but wouldn't it be cool if we just didn't care about it, man? You know, whatever. And I think there is like a inherent, like, you get to decide at some point if you get to a level of financial security that it doesn't matter, right? Like, I think, I used to always wonder why I feel like my mother couldn't make it to Christmas like half of the years, like, and I never really questioned it until I was like older, and then like when she explained it to me, she's like, oh yeah, you get like 2.5 times pay to be there on Christmas, like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. So she always works at least one of those shifts, and I was like, oh, why isn't everyone working right now? We could just do this another day. And I kind of realized then that, like, you know, I think it's set in path. My long-standing belief, by the way, that calendars are dumb. Leave something in the chest, isn't it? Oh, yeah, you're right. That is a smart idea. If I just put something in the chest, I can make it even more confusing for me. You know, missed opportunity. Very, very strongly missed opportunity. So, yeah, let's go to this. Oh, no. Well, I messed that up. There's no easy way to get blocks that are that far in the middle of nowhere. If only I had, like, a ghast I could ride. You know, actually, this is the perfect place for it, too, because I'm probably going to set up the stable where my... Okay, come on. No. I'm probably going to set up the stable there anyway. Okay, so it is doable. Hey, there we go. Okay. So that's one of these wet sponge blocks, so I think it fell down here. Nope, that's a slime again. Always assuming it is what it isn't. Leave one sponge in the chest. If I leave the sponge in the chest, though, I might as well have just stacked up using the sponge. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So there's one sponge left, but if I leave it there, future me will have a fun task to get to. Like an easy starting point on doing the rest of this. And so really I'm doing future me a giant favor. Unlike most of the time. If you only had Jack Black's 100-meter placing range. But yeah, I feel that way about Valentine's Day still. I used to work Valentine's Day because I like to be mean. I like to be mean when we close the store. A sick part of me likes seeing people rush to the doors to find out we were closed. So many angry people. Oh, I mean, I could see how you eventually like get to that feeling by the time you're like, look, I'm trying my best to help these people, but they're all. I think a lot of people like learn to like, as a response to people like treading on you, is like, okay, now I am mean. You know, you take advantage of kindness, and so now I am being mean to it. Whereas I feel like, anyway, yeah, it's an artistic choice. Okay, let's grab our sand. I don't think we need this much sand in there. I could use the sand to like place the last little grid to make it ready for the future. I don't think we need to do that though. Anyway, hi Toy Cat. Was that really you I found in Trackmania online matchmaking, or was that someone using your name unofficially? Sorry, I asked twice. Oh yeah, I've been playing a lot of Trackmania recently. It's wild. It's like every third lobby, someone is like, is that really Toy Cat? And because I've got a controller, it's really hard to respond. So I am being a little silly sometimes, but yeah. So this isn't a Shattered Savannah biome. This is it might just be like a Plains biome. I just placed all these acacia trees here, because look how nice the leaves look. If you move trees between biomes, you get really interesting things with the leaves. In particular, in this case, you can see there's like multiple biomes that are right here. Couldn't work Valentine's Day. It's my dog's birthday, says Eliotto2. See, but then, okay, this is my. I think I'm slowly coming to change on this opinion, but my belief has always been like, you know, you can schedule days anytime you like, right? Like if someone said, hey, if you work on your birthday, I'll pay you 3 times as much than if you work the day after your birthday. It's like, okay, then I'll take my day off for my day after my birthday and earn for, like, the financial decision is really easy, but still we have this like emotional connection. And I think that's really interesting. That all days are equal, but we still... there's something about having to place value on those days that we will literally throw money away. We'll burn it out. You know, like, it's very interesting to me. Because I think I'm starting to become someone who is like, fine, I'll burn the money so that I don't work on, you know, like, Christmas Eve or whatever. Also, it was you, Lamouse, as Daniel Stengel. Okay, just want to make sure no one uses your name without your knowledge. Yeah, I'm glad you checked, but yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, so today's been great chat. I hope you all enjoyed coming along for the Let's Play today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well. And I'll see you next time. Yeah, I had no energy at the start of the stream, but I always find some like in the middle there. We find like a nice little moment. And thank you, chat, for being with me while I found that little moment. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then consider liking. I hope you enjoyed the very unstructured dive we did today. And in the next stream, it will be slightly less so. Also, I just noticed the bees. Yeah, we don't pay attention to the bees. But yeah, speaking of things we don't pay attention to, this video is over now. Good. Do you think actually, I think here, instead of having real pale trees, I think I should specifically, like, put stone on them or something. I think that'd be fun. Anyway, yeah. Thank you, and I'll see you if you want to watch a Let's Play. I've got a very different one on Monday. And, oh yeah, look at this beautiful view right here. Thank you. It was good to see you all. I'll see you on Tuesday? Oh, I don't know. I think I hit my breakpoint, chat. I did too much exercise and too much mental work. So now I just want to become a puddle. I'm gonna go watch Black Mirror. Season the newest one, episode 3 I'm on right now. Maybe episode 4. I think episode 3 is like an hour and a half. They're like, you know, there's a lot of movie-length episodes in Black Mirror. It's getting pretty good. Anyway, oh, wait. The Toy Cats Toolkit, if you're excited, it'll be out at the end of May. I'm going to, like, confirm it all, work on it all, etc. I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. Oh, and if you want Boss Blitz, it's currently on sale. You can buy it right now, and you'll get 33% off. I hit my breakpoint an hour ago. Wow, you must have run a 10K today, Chantal. If you hit your breakpoint even earlier than me. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Check out Boss Blitz. Yeah, I've been working around with, I've been playing around with, the biome stuff. I think that's really interesting. I want to talk about it. But for now, goodbye. I'm going to go fix the Q&A Saturday title. Okay, thanks. See ya. Have a good day. I drank all my liquid. Entirely out of beverages. Have a good day. Bye.